They made a critical mistake the morning they decided to mess with me. I was standing in my boxers at 6 a.m., coffee in hand, watching 3 sheriff squad cars roll up my long gravel driveway and surround the ranch like I was some kind of fugitive. Most men would have felt powerless. For me, that was the exact moment I became unstoppable. My name is Jake Morrison. I'm 42 years old, and after 20 years as an Army Corps of Engineers officer, all I wanted was quiet on the 47 acres my grandfather deeded to himself back in 1952. This isn't some subdivision lot with cookie-cutter houses and HOA covenants. It's rolling Texas hill country in unincorporated Williamson County. Century-old live oaks, hand-quarried limestone fence posts, a weathered red barn built in 1954, and pastures where my horses Ranger, Belle, and Dakota have grazed their whole lives. Every morning the meadow larks call across the grass, and the scent of cedar and dew mixes with the lowing of neighboring cattle. This land has soul. It predates the Sunset Ridge subdivision by 35 years, and the original plat maps on file at the county clerk's office prove my property was never included in their HOA boundaries. But Patricia Patty Thornfield didn't care about facts. The 58-year-old California transplant with perfectly styled blonde hair and a spotless white Lexus SUV had appointed herself dictator of Sunset Ridge. For 8 years, she'd run the HOA unopposed, targeting anyone she considered undesirable, which usually meant people who didn't match her country club vision. I became her next project the day a fancy citation appeared zip-tied to my gate. Violation of CCNR 473, unsightly agricultural equipment. The photos show my grandfather's 1962 Ford tractor. Fine, $150, escalating $50 a day. I called her politely. She hung up on me mid-sentence. Then came citations for my horses, my barn, my simple wooden business sign that had hung for 3 years without complaint. The white Lexus started cruising past twice a day, windows down, phone recording. One dawn, I caught her on my property with a tape measure and a bag of bright orange survey stakes, pounding them into the ground and spray painting red marks on my oaks, redrawing the boundary to swallow 5 acres of my ranch. That was her first big mistake. I had security cameras. The footage clearly showed her white Lexus arriving at 5:47 a.m., her stepping out in designer jeans, and spending an hour playing land developer on property that had never belonged to her HOA. When she filed a false police report claiming I had destroyed official survey markers, Deputy Rodriguez showed up. I handed him the deeds, the 1952 survey, the 1987 HOA plat that explicitly excluded my land, and the timestamp video. He examined the cheap Home Depot stakes and shook his head. These aren't official. She just committed a false report. He left with a warning for her, not me. That should have ended it. It didn't. Suddenly, anonymous complaints flooded every county department: zoning, code enforcement, environmental, fire. Inspectors rolled in one after another. My property was cleaner and more compliant than most subdivisions. Every permit current, every system maintained. One inspector, David Shun, quietly admitted the same woman called his office 3 times a week about me. The pattern was obvious. So I started digging the way an engineer does, methodically. I pulled every public record on the Sunset Ridge HOA. What I found made my blood run hot. Over the previous 3 years, the HOA had paid nearly $180,000 to 3 shell companies: TC Enterprises, TC Safety Solutions, and TC Management Services. All 3 were registered to Patricia Thornfield's home address. The invoices were for landscaping, security, and administrative consulting that either never happened or were wildly overpriced. She had created the companies right after joining the board, forged signatures, bypassed votes, and funneled the money straight to herself. This wasn't a one-time mistake. She had done the exact same thing at her previous HOA in California before quietly resigning when irregularities surfaced. I wasn't alone in my fight. Margaret Shun, the quiet HOA treasurer, had been watching the books for months and was sick of it. She met me at Rosie's Diner with a box of copied documents and trembling hands. "She's been stealing from us for years," she said. "I can't stay silent anymore. My old Army buddy Tom Rodriguez, now a civil rights attorney in Austin, reviewed everything and laid it out plainly. Embezzlement, fraud, false reports, trespass, sabotage, conspiracy, and a clear pattern of targeting minorities, veterans, and anyone who didn't fit Patty's ideal. We had criminal charges, civil triple damages claims, and even potential federal violations. But I didn't want a quick arrest. I wanted her to keep digging her own grave so the entire community could watch. While I built the case, Patty escalated. She sabotaged my excavator at 2:47 a.m. Sugar in the tank, cut hydraulic lines, sand in the oil. Kevin, my nephew fresh out of cybersecurity school, had upgraded my cameras. The night vision footage was crystal clear. She was caught red-handed committing a felony. She called my insurance company pretending to represent the neighborhood and tried to get my policy canceled, another federal offense. She impersonated a sheriff's deputy to call my daughter at college and scare her. She sent a group of men in HOA polo shirts to my porch to intimidate me and the single mother, Sarah Mitchell, who had become my ally during the investigation. Every single move was recorded, time-stamped, and added to the growing file. The breaking point came at the annual HOA meeting. The community center was packed. Over 200 homeowners, the biggest turnout anyone could remember. A local reporter was there. Deputy Rodriguez stood quietly at the back. Patty strode in wearing her power suit, ready to declare war on the Morrison threat. She never got the chance. Margaret Shin stood up during the treasurer's report and calmly projected the financial records onto the big screen. $180,000 funneled to shell companies registered at Patty's address. The room erupted. I walked to the front, laid out the deeds proving I was never in their HOA, and played the videos: trespassing, sabotage, the fake survey stakes, the late-night equipment vandalism. Deputy Rodriguez stepped forward and placed her under arrest for embezzlement, felony destruction of property, filing false reports, impersonating a peace officer, and organized criminal activity. As they let her out in handcuffs, the room gave a standing ovation, not for me, but for the truth finally coming out. 6 months later, Patricia Thornfield was sentenced to 4 years in state prison in order to pay $540,000 in triple damages restitution. Her white Lexus was sold at auction. Her husband filed for divorce and lost his city job. The community changed for the better. Margaret was elected president and brought in real transparency. Every expenditure now needs 3 approvals. All records are posted online, and shell companies are banned. Property values actually rose once fear left the neighborhood. Sarah Mitchell and I got married on the ranch last spring under the live oaks my grandfather planted. Her son Marcus has become a skilled mechanic. My daughter Emma transferred closer to home. We turned part of the settlement into a 2,400 square foot community workshop on my property. Every Saturday, I teach neighbors how to weld, fix engines, build things with their hands. Veterans get priority. Kids learn skills their parents never had time to teach them. We've repaired hundreds of broken appliances, built playground equipment for the elementary school, and turned strangers into friends. The ranch feels more alive than it has since my grandfather's day. 3 horses, 2 dogs, a barn cat named Deputy, and a big garden that feeds half the neighborhood. Looking back, the lesson is simple. When someone tries to bully you and steal what your family built, don't explode in anger. Get quiet. Get evidence. Know the law. Pull the public records. Find the honest people who are tired of the same tyrant. Document everything like your future depends on it, because sometimes it does. Good fences make good neighbors, my grandfather used to say. But good neighbors, real ones who stand up for what's right, make great communities. And that's exactly what we have now. If you're fighting your own HOA nightmare, remember this story. Gather the proof, stay patient, protect what's yours, and never let a bully win just because they're loud and wearing a title. The truth has a way of coming out when someone refuses to back down. Welcome to the neighborhood.